Hey crew, I've got the key to that 22 Porsche 911 GT3. We are going to take it for a drive. How could you not? But first, let's check out how it looks on the inside and outside. This new 992 generation is distinguished from the predecessor GT3 by a resculpted front fascia. We've got a large air dam, two new inlets on the hood, functional corner vents, LED DRLs right there, Porsche dynamic lighting system with projector LED headlights, a shark blue accent around the headlights to match the shark blue exterior. I think the exterior color is phenomenal. Looks so cool. I don't so much love the optional pinstripes around these forged alloy wheels. They're 20-inch front and 21s in the rear, wrapped in Pirelli P0 Corsa tires, 255 section front, 315s in the rear. The forged alloys have center locking hubs. And beyond the wheels, you see the optional carbon ceramic brakes, 16.1-inch front rotors clamped on by 6-piston calipers. Body color matching door mirrors here. Stepping back to look at the profile, that iconic 911 shape, enhanced on the GT3 by an extended front clip and scalloped rear end. At the back, you have the new swan hinge mounted giant rear wing. A lot of carbon fiber reinforced plastic on this model, including for the hood, this rear wing, and spoiler. LED taillight bar across the back above the GT3 badge. And then down low, we have a larger rear diffuser, prompting more downforce on the new GT3. And there's a lightweight stainless steel exhaust system. Overall, I think the 991.2 was more aesthetically pleasing, but this new GT3 looks more focused on going fast. Let's see about the interior. Opening up and looking inside at this blacked out cabin with blue accents. These carbon fiber buckets are upgrades over the standard 4-way sport seats. GT3 is stitched in blue onto the headrests to match the blue stitching on the leather borders to the seat and the blue backing to the suede inserts, plus your optional blue seat belts. To adjust the seats, you've got power raising and lowering here and manual sliding here. And because the back of the seat doesn't angle forward, this is your window to access all the storage space behind the front seats, where typically rear seats go on 911s. If you need more storage space though, pull this lever to access the very large front trunk, 5 cubic feet of space. It's so big I can fit inside. Here on the doors, we have leather with more blue contrast stitching, aluminum trim, and then suede inserts, one-touch up-down windows, and power adjusting door mirrors. To get in, I find the most graceful ways to put my butt on that side bolster first and then scoot over. Doors close with a satisfying thud. GT3 models get the suede wrap steering wheel with the center marker. It's the ideal size and thickness. PDK models have these paddles on the back of the wheel that aren't that large, but are so good to actuate. Manually adjusting tilt and telescope wheel, lots of articulation, analog tachometer right in the center, bordered by 2 digital gauge clusters that are reconfigurable. Don't worry, the Christmas tree of lights is because we're in accessory mode. Stitched leather up on the dashboard. There's a 10.9-inch touchscreen infotainment that's easy to use. It's not the most visually compelling system out there, but it is quick to respond with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Aluminum trim is here on the dash. Suede wrapping is down low. There are knurl finishes for the selectors, for your physical volume knob, climate settings, physical tuner. There's gloss black that will collect dust and smudge, but that's overwhelmed easily by the fact that they upgraded the stubby little shifter in the 911 to what looks to be a manual gear selector until you see the shift pattern. This is just so much more satisfying to actuate than doing that. GT3 is here in yellow. There's a removable cup holder here, a secondary one there on the dash. There's more suede wrapping on the console cover with blue stitching. Inside is only room for a smartphone. You do have 2 USB-C ports. Visibility is actually quite good, even with that giant rear wing, and that's needed because you don't have blind spot monitoring or rear cross traffic. There is good doming to the roof as well, such that at 6 feet tall, I can easily fit even with a helmet strapped on for track duty. And speaking of, these seats and all of the suede in this cabin just give this performance attitude. and it gets me excited to give the GT3 a good drive. All right, let's fire it up. It's a deep rumble from that Boxer 6 on startup. And from experience, if you do ignite the GT3 in your own garage, it will vibrate the entire neighborhood, so just come prepared for that. We're going to begin in normal drive mode selected via this dial, and this is a little different than other 911s. For one, you only have 3 drive modes. You've got normal, sport, and track. And 2, this middle button, which is typically the sport response or push to pass power, is actually a way to calibrate your sport and track drive modes even further. So normal it is. We'll press down on the top and push back to go into reverse, and that brings up a reasonably high resolution backup camera. You do have trajectory lines, no bird's eye view. Can't even get that as an option in the GT3. It's the bare necessities in this track focused car. Press down and back to drive, and we'll begin as per usual with the turning radius test. Fully cranked. Fantastic. We can thank the rear axle steering system that comes standard on the GT3, so at low speeds below 30, it will turn the rear wheels in the opposite direction of the fronts to shorten that radius. And at speeds above 45, it turns the rear wheels in the same direction as the fronts to effectively lengthen the wheelbase, give you more stability. The Powertrain 4-liter naturally aspirated flat 6. It's an iconic motor for Porsche in the 911. It makes 502 horsepower and 346 pound-feet of torque. Same power as the 991.2, but the torque figure is up 7. It's not a ton, but it makes a difference in terms of acceleration for this GT3. And over some initial bumps, these standard adaptive dampers, which, I mean, you see the rear wing and you're like, that's gonna ride terribly. Hello, little bunny rabbit. Didn't notice you till the last second. I'm glad I didn't crush you. It actually rides shockingly good in normal mode. I'm gonna pause for a sec so we can do the horn test. Sounds good. We heard the start-stop system cut the power for us to fully hear the horn, and then when it reignited, it was not disruptive at all. The dual clutch in normal mode is pretty smooth. It's not, of course, it's not going to be as smooth as a torque converter automatic. So there's some shunk at low speeds moving between the gears, but the throttle response is very easy to modulate. And more on that ride quality, it's taut, right? Like, this is a sports car, but it's not brittle. At these lower speeds in the lower part of the rev range, something about the engine vibration does get some squeaky panels coming from that passenger side door. But as the revs build, the vibration changes in the engine and that goes away. Just worth mentioning at lower speeds. It's really very easy to drive. And it's already shifted us into 7th gear out of a total of 7 gears. You do have a choice of the PDK transmission, the dual clutch, or a 6-speed manual, and neither is an upcharge. If you want the manual, same cost as if you want the PDK. This is obviously going to be your more daily driving transmission, daily driving friendly transmission, but the 6-speed is going to be more engaging. And the fact that the GT3 is still offered with the 6-speed manual, it proves Porsche's dedication to the driver. I don't want to waste any time. How quick is the GT3 to 60? Well, let's find out. I've got my race box set up here, and when we go into track drive mode, to do the launch control sequence, it's very simple. All you have to do is be in that mode, hold your foot hard on the brake, pin the throttle, launch control active. 3.14 seconds, my friends. There wasn't even a bit of hesitation from a rear drive car out of the hole, and we launched at above 6,000 RPM. That's insanity to me. And with only in this day and age, 502 horsepower. Not an all-wheel drive system. We just have the weight of the flat six over the rear axle. Good Lord. I didn't even realize we had hit 60 until I sort of checked the speedometer, because we just got there so quickly. 3.1 seconds. And other tests have seen even quicker. They've seen below 3 seconds to 60. Perhaps more warming of the tires. I don't know, but the Porsche launch control system is a feat. Goodness. All right, let's do some handling next. And of course, the acceleration isn't even the best part about the GT3. It's far and away the way it handles. And this GT3, this new 992, has been improved in that aspect even further. With the first ever application of a double wishbone front suspension in a 911 production car. They pulled this out of the 911 RSR race car, and what it does, oh my gosh, what it does is improve the turn-in and the stability both mid-corner and under hard braking. And with these carbon ceramics, the braking is phenomenal. PDK-equipped GT3s forego the mechanical limited slip rear differential for Porsche's torque vectoring system, which feeds the power side to side at the rear axle so intuitively and so quickly that you could just carry so much speed out of a corner. And Porsche's electronically assisted steering racks are incredible. The feel, the feedback is phenomenal. Other improvements on this new GT3 include, you've got that same 5-link rear suspension, but now there are new ball bearings in the lower control arms and these new helper springs that, as I just experienced right there, over crests, you want as much traction as possible. And they improve the travel so that the tires stay in contact with the road, and you have that extended grip. With the chassis dynamics that are exhaustively refined. The 911 in all its generations, with an engine just hanging over the rear end, Porsche has developed a platform that does things in a corner that physics just disagrees with. And this 4-liter flat six sings such an incredible you just want to string it out, not to mention the fact that peak power is available at 8,400 RPM. But that song is like a siren song, but it's not tempting you to crash. It's just tempting you to extract the most out of this car. Because there's so much here. This PDK, yeah, it's not the full level of engagement on offer with the manual. But the shifts are so quick and so crisp that there's more involvement here than 99 out of 100 gearboxes that you could possibly access in a road car. Not only are the stopping distances phenomenal with these carbon ceramics, but you got to consider, if you do plan to take this car to the track, having braking performance that does not yield, does not fade after consistently hard stops is probably worth that $10,000. Now, before we get into pricing and competition, I'm going to make sure we have a chance to just enjoy the drive. So, we are in sport and manual mode. I'm going to display the track display on the gauge cluster. So we've got these two shift timers bordering the tachometer, and then we only show the oil pressure, oil temp on the right, and tire pressure off to the left. The games begin. That's how you finish it off. And that Seat Stingray we passed, that was in a very similar blue color, is a perfect transition to pricing and competition. Couple quick facts that I didn't share before. The top speed for the GT3 is 198 miles per hour, and the fuel economy is just 15 city, 18 highway, and 16 combined. Pricing, you can get in the door at $162,450 if you don't want the rear wing, which I actually don't mind. I mean, it's like you're just wearing your heart on your sleeve with the wing. You can get the touring model, still available with the manual and the PDK. This one is tested with those carbon ceramics and the shark blue exterior and all the touches around the wheels and headlights and interior. Is going to be $198,000 as tested. Compare that to, this is just going to be a sampling of cars because there are a lot of competitors to this. But what comes to mind is the Audi R8 rear-wheel drive. That one's $152,000, a little less expensive. It makes 562 horsepower. It gets to 60 in 3.4 seconds. The top speed is 204 miles per hour, and the fuel economy is 17 combined. And then there's the Acura NSX Type S. That's $177,000. It makes 600 horsepower. It gets to 60 in 2.9 seconds. and the top speed is 191 miles per hour for that one. And the fuel economy, because it's a hybrid, is fantastic. Another blue color on the Civic Type R is 21 combined mpg. Then there is the Maserati MC20. That's going to be a big jump up in price, $216,000, but it makes 621 horsepower. It gets to 60 in 2.9 seconds, and the top speed is 202 miles per hour. The fuel economy is still better than the GT3 at 17 combined. This car does not look as good, in my opinion, as the MC20 or the Audi R8, and it doesn't ride as well as the MC20 and the Acura NSX Type S. Why then would I choose this over all the cars I just mentioned? The answer is very simple, and yet the engineering behind it is infinitely complex. But this car is grafted into driving pleasure in a way no other car in this price territory could ever claim. It's just so rewarding. I gravitate to the GT3. I would not get the pinstriping around the wheels. I would not get the pinstriping around the headlights. And I probably would choose, though the PDK is excellent, I'd probably choose the manual gearbox for that extra level of connection to the driver. But I would absolutely take this car under $200,000 over the cars I just mentioned. I hope you guys have enjoyed this POV drive review. If you did, please like, comment, and share the video. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell to get notified. And I will see you next time.